What the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing right now shouldn't even be possible. A team with the youngest roster in the entire league is on the verge of an NBA title. Not because they got hot at the right time, not because of some miracle run, but because they've built something real. A top 3 offense, the best defense, a level of discipline and chemistry that looks more like a veteran team than a rebuilding project. They're not just beating teams with their offense, they're suffocating them with their defense. Every possession feels like a calculation, every win feels inevitable. And the scariest part, they're only getting better. What we're witnessing is not just a great playoff run, it might be the beginning of something much bigger, the birth of a potential dynasty. And trust me, it is looking scary. In sports, cliches are everywhere, but few are as universally accepted or as historically accurate as the old saying, defense wins championships. While the offensive highlights get the views, it's almost always the teams that can get stops that end up holding the trophy. The evidence is everywhere. The 2004 Pistons didn't have a top 10 scorer. What they had was a defense so suffocating, it neutralized a prime Shaq and Kobe. The Spurs built an entire dynasty on help side rotations, disciplined switches, and Tim Duncan anchoring the paint like a 7-foot metronome. Even the flashy, fast-paced Miami Heat teams during the Big Three era won their titles on the back of elite defensive stretches, not just LeBron and Wade flying through the air. In 2024, the Oklahoma City Thunder learned that lesson the hard way. After a breakout regular season, their playoff run ended in the second round at the hands of the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic dissected their defense, while OKC got pushed around on the glass and buried under second-chance points. They were too small, too light, and lacked the physicality to survive deep into the postseason. Sam Presti knew the answer wasn't more scoring. It was more size, more defense, more backbone. So in the offseason, he traded for Alex Caruso, unarguably one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and signed Isaiah Hartenstein, who previously gave the Knicks a level of rim protection they hadn't had in years. These weren't flashy moves, but they were surgical. The Thunder didn't just patch their weaknesses, they rebuilt their defensive core. Caruso brought tenacity, switchability, and postseason experience. Hartenstein added rim deterrence, vertical spacing, and elite decision-making as a short-roll playmaker. The roster that once lacked interior presence and perimeter grit was suddenly filled with long arms, fast hands, and high defensive IQ. And the reality is, Presti has always had defense in his DNA. Before coming OKC's general manager, he was a part of the Spurs front office during their title runs in 2003, 2005, and 2007. Those teams weren't flashy, they weren't on posters, but they ended dynasties with rotations so precise and team defense so suffocating that even Shaq and Kobe couldn't crack the code. What Presti learned back then, he's now applying in full force. Nearly 20 years later, he's built a modern version of those Spurs teams in Oklahoma City. They don't just contest shots, they erase passing lanes, cut off driving angles, and force opposing offenses into inefficient decisions. They swarm like a school of sharks, each defender rotating and recovering like it's second nature. And that is exactly what they've done so far in the 2025 playoffs. Throughout the regular season and now into the playoffs, OKC's greatest strength has been its ability to disarm the opposition. This team wasn't built to outgun you, it was built to shut you down. This roster was designed around players who save energy for that end of the floor and take pride in stopping the ball or stripping it away. In the regular season, the Thunder finished with the league best defensive rating of 104.7. They averaged 10.4 steals per game, the most in the NBA, and 5.7 blocks per game, which ranked 4th. They forced 17.1 turnovers per game and generated 20.8 deflections per game, both the highest in the league. They also allowed the fewest points in the paint with 45.2 per game, the fewest fast break points with 11.6 per game, and the fewest points off turnovers with 14.2 per game. In the playoffs, their intensity hasn't dropped. OKC leads all teams with 9.8 steals per game, ranks 4th with 6.1 blocks per game, and continues to limit teams to just 10.9 points off turnovers and 9.1 fast break points per game. The core of OKC's defensive identity lies in its guard and wing-heavy rotations. While most teams rely on traditional centers to protect the paint, the Thunder flipped the formula, deploying lineups full of interchangeable defenders from positions 1 through 5. Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, and Alex Caruso form a nightmare perimeter quartet with long arms, lateral quickness, and elite defensive IQ. Add the versatile Chet Holmgren and a fully healthy Isaiah Hartenstein, and OKC has just enough size to make this scheme sustainable deep into the postseason. So far, the results speak for themselves. That second-round series against the Nuggets was framed as a duel between MVP candidates SGA and Jokic, but it turned into a showcase of defensive dominance. In Game 7, the Thunder forced 22 turnovers, held Denver to just 39% shooting, and blew them out 125-93. Over 7 games, the Nuggets averaged just 103.9 points per 100 possessions, 15 fewer than their regular season average, and the lowest offensive rating of any team in the conference semis. Denver's transition chances dried up, their layups disappeared, OKC's backcourt smothered everything, while Holmgren and Hartenstein erased shots at the rim. Against Minnesota in the conference finals, OKC took it up another level. The Thunder forced 21 turnovers in Game 5's closeout and completely disrupted the Wolves' rhythm. Anthony Edwards scored 19, but on 7 of 18 shooting, and just 1 from 7 from 3. He had 3 turnovers and looked frustrated all night, battling Lou Dort and Jalen Williams. Meanwhile, Julius Randle and Naz Reid combined for 8 turnovers under constant pressure from the Thunder's guards, jumping passing lanes and closing gaps. Minnesota couldn't execute even the basics. Dribbling, passing, and shooting felt like hard work. And that's what OKC does. They turn basketball into hard labor. They overwhelm with pressure, speed, physicality, and swarm every lane. Every decision feels rushed. Every drive feels crowded. The middle of the floor becomes a bear trap. And if this tells us anything, it's that anyone still thinking defense doesn't matter in today's NBA clearly hasn't been watching this team. The Thunder are the best defensive unit we've seen in years, and they're just 4 wins away from proving that defense still wins championships. But OKC's dominance isn't just on one side of the floor. In fact, they might be the most complete team in the NBA, and a lot of that comes down to their young big 3. The last time the Thunder reached the finals, the names leading the charge were just starting to become iconic. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. They were young, ahead of schedule, and bursting with promise. But that run ended in disappointment, and a rebuild followed. Now, we're right back here, with a different big 3 anchoring the team. Shai, Chet, and J-Dub are rewriting the OKC story once again. The Minnesota series might have been their most complete showing yet. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was surgical, averaging 31.4 points and 8.2 assists on his way to Western Conference Finals MVP. Jalen Williams answered every critic with 22.2 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 2 steals per game. And Chet Holmgren, he's rounding into form at just the right time, chipping in 18 points, 6 boards, and nearly 2 blocks a night. In Games 4 and 5, the trio combined for 95 and 75 points respectively. That's superstar stuff. Each has stepped up in their own way. Chet brought rim protection and floor spacing. Plus, he made life hell for Julius Randle. J-Dub thrived as the co-pilot, dominating stretches on both ends, and even if SGA didn't match his usual efficiency, he still out-jeweled Anthony Edwards, which is all that mattered. Offensively, this trio is a nightmare. Shai is a one-man clinic, elite ISO scorer, smooth operator in the mid-range, and a master at controlling tempo. J-Dub is the perfect wing complement, able to slash, shoot, pass, and punish defensive lapses. Then there's Chet, who keeps the floor space, moves the ball quickly, and plays with the IQ of a veteran. Together, their unselfish, spacing, and decision-making make them nearly impossible to scheme against. But what really separates them is their defense. Shai isn't just an offensive star. He locks in on defense as well. J-Dub can switch across 4 positions, using his strength and length to blow up sets, and Chet is the anchor, erasing mistakes, contesting everything, and giving the team the freedom to pressure higher up the floor. This big 3 is 3D, dimensional, dominant, dangerous, And the scariest part? This still isn't their peak. But OKC's dominance isn't just about the big three. The truth is, the Thunder's chaos-inducing system only works because of their depth, and it might be the deepest roster in the entire league. Last season, they were already one of the most balanced teams in the NBA. Then Sam Presti added Isaiah Hartenstein and Alex Caruso. Now, it's a defensive goldmine. Nearly every player on this roster has quick hands and even quicker instincts. 5 different Thunder players averaged at least 1 steal per game during the regular season. Cason Wallace, SGA, Caruso, Jalen Williams, and Lou Dort. When Lou Dort ranks 5th in steals per game at 1.1, you know your team is stacked. That depth goes beyond just giving the starters rest. It gives coach Mark Daigneault options, lots of them. He can run a double big lineup with Holmgren and Hartenstein to punish the paint, or switch to a 5-out set with Chet in the middle. He can throw Caruso at a star wing, or even on a center like Jokic in key moments without blinking. This flexibility is rare, and it's deadly. Lou Dort brings veteran grit, fighting through screens, pestering elite scorers, and hitting timely threes. He's the emotional engine of OKC's perimeter defense. Caruso adds championship DNA to a locker room full of playoff newcomers. His perimeter defense, off-ball movement, and floor spacing have been huge, and his leadership shows in every playoff possession. Then there's Hartenstein, who's been a revelation. He's given OKC a physical interior presence they've lacked in years past, dominating the paint against the league's best inside scoring teams. His presence lets Holmgren roam and help where he's at his most dangerous. And don't forget Cason Wallace, calm, efficient, and clutch. His on-ball defense and shooting off the bench have made him an under-the-radar playoff X-factor. Together, this group overwhelms opponents with wave after wave of versatile defenders and knockdown shooters. That's how they piled up a franchise record 68 regular season wins. That's how they led the league in point differential and double-digit victories. And that's how they've gone 12-4 in the playoffs with a plus 10.8 point margin, despite facing elite competition in the last 2 rounds. Now, they're just 4 wins away from proving it. Depth wins titles as well. But as good as these players are, and as masterful as Sam Presti has been in assembling this roster, you can't talk about OKC's rise without giving serious credit to head coach Mark Daigneault. When Daigneault took over in 2020, the Thunder were deep in rebuild mode. They had just moved on from Russell Westbrook and Paul George. In his first season, OKC went 22-50, then 24-58 the following year. But through it all, Daigneault kept the culture intact, one built on effort, discipline, and development. In 2022-23, it started to click. The Thunder won 40 games, a 16-win jump, and just missed the playoffs. Then came the leap. In 23-24, everything came together. Daigneault blended the youth and experience, molded the team around the defense-first identity, and pushed the pace offensively with a movement-heavy, unselfish attack. He turned OKC into a 68-win juggernaut, and now, in just his second playoff run, has led them to the NBA Finals. What's rare is that this team is young and still fully committed on the defensive end. That doesn't happen by accident. Daigneault made defense a non-negotiable, and it shows in the way his team switches, scrambles, and competes. Schematically, he's ahead of the curve. His defensive system is built on constant motion, versatile switching, and elite help side timing. On offense, it's cuts, spacing, and smart reads. A system designed to empower decision makers and punish overhelping. But above all else, his teams fight. Even when they're winning 22 games, OKC played with intensity for all 48 minutes. And that grit is still baked into this team's DNA. Now, that same fight has scaled with the talent. The result? A franchise record season, a deep playoff run, and a chance to raise a banner. Now, when you put this all together, the roster, the system, the coach, you get a team that's flat out deadly. The Thunder dominate in transition, feature the league's most efficient scorer in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and bring a back-breaking defense that never lets opposing matchups get comfortable. OKC boasts both the best interior defense and the best transition defense in the league. That's ultimately what won them the wars against Denver and Minnesota. 2 physical, paint-heavy teams that couldn't break OKC's wall at the rim or get anything easy in transition. But what truly sets the Thunder apart is the breadth of defensive excellence. They're not just elite at stopping layups, they might also have the best perimeter defense in the modern game. So, they turn defense into offense better than anyone, and that's the engine behind their top-tier efficiency. Steals don't just end your possession, they spark a fast break the other way. And because OKC gets so many of these stops, they rarely need to rely on bombing away from three like other teams. They rebound, run, finish, and then set their defense again. It's a cycle of pressure and precision. There's so much to love about this Thunder squad. The defense, the transition offense, the consistency, the adaptability, the force, the resolve, the shot making, the steals, the relentless pressure. They feast in the mid-range. They play unselfishly and they go full throttle every single night. The scary part is that the Thunder have completely short-circuited the usual NBA rebuild timeline. They're NBA Finals favourites right now and ridiculously young. Their average age is 24.8. Their best, second, and third best players haven't even hit their prime yet. But guys like Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Isaiah Hartenstein are all 27 or younger. This team isn't just young, it's built to last. Every player in the rotation is under contract for next season, and most are locked in on bargain deals precisely because of their youth. Their stars are still on rookie deals or rookie extensions, not bloated max contracts. The future looks even brighter. The Thunder have stockpiled no fewer than 10 first-round picks and 10 second-round picks through 2029, thanks to a series of shrewd trades. That haul includes 2 first-rounders in the 2025 draft, which many analysts consider deep and talented. For now, OKC finds itself in a rare position, just 4 wins away from the NBA title. This isn't a team knocking on the door of contention anymore. They've kicked that door open with a suffocating defense and a fearless, relentless approach to the game. In a league often defined by dynasties, we're fresh off an era with 6 different champions in 6 years. Only the second time that's happened in NBA history. This season signals a new era, the start of the Thunder dynasty staking its claim. The Thunder dynasty is poised to stake its claim on its first title over the next few weeks. Given their dominance and the matchup in the finals, it's highly likely. They have everything and appear much better than their potential opponent. Only a miracle would prevent the Thunder from hoisting the Larry O'Brien Championship trophy. The OKC rebuild wasn't supposed to happen this fast, but they hit fast forward, and now they're coming for the whole league. Not just this year, but for years to come. Let me know which team you think can stop the Thunder, and how many titles this team will rack up in the next 5 seasons. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more playoff breakdowns. We're just getting started.